It was very strange. The audience were sort of shipped in. I think it was a sort of treat for the workers, and it was extraordinarily spooky because 20 minutes before we were due on stage, there wasn't a soul there. It seated 17,000 people a night, maybe more. Not a soul there. Then we went on, and they were all sitting there, absolutely banged out, sitting there like that, looking at the authorities, seeing if they're allowed to clap. Except for the rich Russians, who were in the seats at the front. You know, a couple of blonde girls with leather. And you could tell the rich people because they had clothes that fitted and stuff. But the rest of them, it was just, they were shipped in buses, thousands of buses. And then, as soon as we finished, they'd get up and they'd go out. They'd all file out really quietly and get back on the bus and go back to the wherever they were working, mines probably. It was quite sad. And the place was filthy. There were flies on everything. It was disgusting. I took my children there. Oh. We had to feed the children first because there was hardly any food, so the band would all feed the children. And then we'd eat anything that was left, which wasn't much. It was really grim. I can tell you.
What about going on the road for some of these big double headliner tours you've done with people like Rod Stewart and Elton John? Is that fun to do, being out as part of something, a big package, that kind of thing?
Well, we did a few gigs with Rod, didn't we? Elton? I don't think we've done any.
Well, Slam and Porter said there was some European shows with Elton last year.
Oh. Yeah, but not a tour.
Oh, okay.
No, we did 4 gigs, I think, with Rod. They were big gigs, but they were good. I don't know what to say, really. I've got to tell the truth, they were big paydays and good gigs. But they don't happen very often. You know.
What about going back to the 70s as regards record sales? Because obviously, you know, I think it's only 2 weeks ago, the number one single in England was 7,400 units. Well, back in the 70s, that wouldn't have made the top 100. It wouldn't have brushed it, basically. I was talking about a chart I read the other week from the 70s, and the top 20 was Status Quo, Elton John, Rod Stewart, Pink Floyd, The Who, Queen. It's like a best of album for somebody. When the competition's that good, does that up your game? Knowing you've got to sell X.
I think it must do, yeah. And you're right about sales. I mean, Burning Bridges was that was selling 24,000 a day. A day. Things are different. Yes.
Okay. No, because one of the, I think it was Linda Nolan yesterday, and Kenny Jones said, in the old days you would do a tour to promote an album because you knew you could sell units.
Yeah.
He said these days it seems like you put out an album to promote a tour because you know that ticket sales and merch.
That's exactly right, yeah. Yeah, the only way people make money, that's why everybody's on the road now. The world and his mate are on the road because it's the only place you're left to make money. And it's getting ugly out there, I can tell you, because I mean, this recession, I shouldn't say that word really, but things are tough. And there's only so many tickets you can afford a year. So who are you going to do? And it's, you know, it probably affects us as well, quite maybe a bit more than most acts, because a lot of people, particularly in Western Europe, have seen Status Quo more than 2 or 3 times. So if somebody comes along who they've never seen, they were going to come and see us, but they can only afford 1 ticket and they're going to see Madonna or somebody. How did we get a record with the Beach Boys? We played somewhere, and is it Bruce, is it? Bruce Johnson. Lovely guy. Francis and he exchanged numbers. And then, that's right, then we did Don't Stop. And we were trying to work out, that was a hell of an album to do. What could we do? we do this. Okay, let's do fun. How the hell are we going to do it? Actually, I take a bit of credit for that because there was one. Everybody was playing all sorts of. Maybe we should do it this way. Yeah. And Rick played that the riff the way it was for a second. I said, "That's it. Why don't we do it like that?" And it's like what you've just done. What? Well, you have just played it. What? You played it? No, do it again. Anyway, all that stuff. And anyway, it started sounding really good. And then I think Francis again had decided, why don't we try and get them to do it? Or we wanted to get some guests on the album. I mean, it actually ended up just with the Beach Boys and Brian May. Right? No other guests. I think they all said, fuck off. But everybody we asked, I'm working, I'm busy, so I just can't do it that day. But that's how it came about. So they sent these files off, because that was all new then, you could do that. And it all came back down the telephone line. The fucking Beach Boys are singing on our album. Great. It was great. And then meeting them was terrific. It was great. I really enjoyed that. Poor Carl died soon after, really. He had a bad foot, and he just died, didn't he?
I was going to ask you about Rick's heart problem and the bypass, and also his cancer scare. How did that affect Status Quo as a working unit in both occasions?
Well, we stopped working. I don't think, that we were overly worried, because we're a bit shocked. Because Rick does have the constitution of an ox. He really does. And he usually gets through things. So I wasn't particularly worried. I went to see him. He wasn't very well. But he was allowed drinks of wine. A bit of wine. So he was happy. But I had to take him some pyjamas. I don't quite know. It was a bit of a rush. But anyway, it worked. And I think it was supposed to last 10 years. I think it was about 20 years ago. I mean, really. But of course, from that moment on, there was never any hint of any controlled substances or fags or anything. Not. And he's still here, He's tough.
Now, I asked you earlier about Bob Young and Colin Johnson. Tell me about Simon Porter and his importance, his role in Status Quo.
He's a very good manager. He's good. He came from the publicity sort of side, and I think he learnt quite a bit from David. But he's been going for a long time. He's not a new guy. He's certainly paid his dues in the business. He was with Bron years and years ago. And I think he's a good manager for the band. He takes care. I mean, there are very few bands that are working as much as we are for the right, the right gigs, for the right money, in the right places. It's good.